All right, let's talk about the one compound that's got the entire longevity community buzzing. I mean, absolutely buzzing. It's called rapamycin. And the big question everyone is asking is this it? Is this the anti-aging pill we've all been searching for? Well, today, we're going to break it all down. What it is, exactly how it works, and the really incredible claims about how it might fight aging right down at the cellular level. I mean, it's the ultimate question, right? Can we actually slow down aging? Or maybe even reverse it? For so long, that's been pure science fiction. But now, for what feels like the first time, the science is starting to point to, well, yes. And a huge part of that answer comes from a massive new study that just dropped. 14%. Just let that number sink in for a second. This is the figure that made everyone sit up and pay attention. We're talking about a 14% increase in median lifespan in major trials. And just to be clear, that isn't just a tiny little bump. That is a huge leap forward. It's a game changer. So, a 14% longer life. I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a movie. How on earth is that even possible? Well, the crazy part is, the answer isn't some super advanced futuristic technology. It's a drug that works by flipping a switch that's already inside every single one of our cells. Okay, so it all comes down to this thing called mTOR. Now, the easiest way to picture mTOR is to think of it like a growth switch in your cells. When you're young and growing, you want that switch cranked to on. It helps you build muscle, get bigger, stronger. But the problem is, as we get older, that switch gets stuck in the on position. And that constant on signal leads to a big problem. A ton of cellular junk just starts to pile up. So look at it this way. On the one side, you've got the mTOR switch constantly on. And yeah, that promotes growth, but it's also like a factory that never shuts down its assembly line. Waste just builds up, and that speeds up aging. But then on the other side, you see what rapamycin does, and this is the key. It doesn't turn the switch off forever. It just pulses it off for a little bit. And that little pause is exactly what your cells need to trigger this amazing deep cleaning process called autophagy. Think of it like the cell's own internal recycling crew, finally getting a chance to come in, clear out all the junk, and that's what seems to slow aging down. And this cellular house cleaning does something else. Something that sounds, well, a little more dramatic. It helps our body hunt down and get rid of one of the biggest villains in the entire story of aging, the infamous zombie cells. So what in the world are zombie cells? Well, their official name is senescent cells. And basically, they're old, worn-out cells that are supposed to die, but they just refuse to go away. They're zombies. They just hang around, and even worse, they're like terrible neighbors, constantly screaming and pumping out all these inflammatory chemicals that damage all the healthy cells nearby. So here's the big takeaway, right? By pulsing that mTOR switch off, rapamycin gives our body the signal to go clear out these zombie cells. And this isn't just a theory, They've actually seen it happen in muscle tissue in the lab. And the results? They're things you can actually measure, like improved grip strength, because the muscles are literally healthier and more efficient without all those zombie cells causing chaos. Okay, so we've got the science down, we know how it works. But the next logical question is, how are people, the biohackers and the early adopters, how are they actually using this stuff? Let's dive into the so-called Pulse protocol that's making waves right now. So here's what that 2026 protocol generally looks like. You've got rapamycin, of course, usually a pretty low dose, like 3 to 6 milligrams. But the most important part here, the detail you can't miss, is the frequency. This is not a daily pill. It's taken just once every week or even every 10 days. That pulsing is the whole secret. It's designed to get all those cleanup benefits without the downsides you'd get from constantly shutting down your body's growth pathways. But you know what? The story gets even crazier. Because what happens when you don't just take this drug, but you stack it with a specific type of exercise? Well, the results they're seeing are, honestly, they're just astonishing. Get ready for this number, 3.2 years. That is the measured reduction in biological age in just 12 months. Let that sink in. We're not talking about your birthday age. We're talking about your epigenetic clock, how old your body truly is at the cellular level. This isn't just slowing down aging anymore. This is starting to look a whole lot like reversing it. So how does this stack actually work? Well, it's a brilliant 1-2 punch. Step 1, rapamycin comes in and does the clearing. It gets rid of all those old, junky zombie cells. Then, step 2, you do zone 2 cardio. We're talking steady, moderate exercise. And that boosts the energy factories, the mitochondria, and all the good, healthy cells that are left. So you see, you clear out the bad stuff, and then you supercharge the good stuff. That's the combo that leads to that incredible age reversal.
Okay, promise versus peril. As mind-blowing as all this is, we absolutely have to hit the brakes for a minute. Because let's be real, a drug this powerful is never going to be risk-free. And it would be totally irresponsible not to talk about the serious downsides here. Okay, first and foremost, you have to remember what this drug was originally designed for. It's an immune suppressant. Now, the Pulse protocol helps mitigate that, but the risk is still there. It could weaken your immune system. People also report things like mouth sores, and it can mess with your metabolism. This is exactly why medical supervision is not a suggestion, it is an absolute requirement. This is not something to play around with by yourself.
And this right here is probably the most serious warning of all. It comes from the Global Longevity Institute, and they say high doses can inhibit mTORC2, which is essential for wound healing. Just think about the irony of that for a second. The very thing you might take to live longer could stop your body from healing a simple cut. That's a serious trade-off.
And that really brings us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? On one hand, rapamycin offers this incredible promise, a tool that might actually extend not just how long we live, but how well we live. But on the other hand, the risks are very real and very serious. So it leaves you with this thought. If science actually found the fountain of youth, is the promise of drinking from it worth the peril that might come along with that first sip?